Okay, the next part of my musical painting is it's time to start adding electric guitar. And the best part about electric guitar is right here. See this? This is my thermostat. And because I don't have an open microphone, I can leave the furnace on. Because it's a bitch when you're playing cello or singing and you're halfway through a part and then the furnace comes on like a foghorn. So that is one of the deals, is anytime you got one of these, an open microphone sitting around, it picks up absolutely everything. You know, the rustle of your pants, you know, certainly the furnace turning on, the creak of a chair, etc., etc. And man, when the music's just going straight to the deck through a chord, you don't have to worry about any of this junk. So I need a guitar to start this process, so let's go find one. Yeah, okay, guitars. Let's see. Oh, there's one. Let's use this one. Now it is kind of a dark, gloomy winter day, so this isn't the best lighting in the world, but this is my Tacoma Papoose Electric. These things don't exist anymore. Not only is this guitar not made, the entire company went out of business. Got bought out by Fender and killed. But the interesting thing is this is a very small guitar, and it's normally tuned to A instead of E. But if you notice here, I put on this capo, so it's actually all the way back to E, but an octave higher. So why would I take a teeny little guitar and then capo it up till it's back in the same register as a normal guitar, only an octave higher? And the reason is because it's an octave higher, and it has this really bright sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double a lot of the parts that I already did with the nylon string guitar on this guitar, and that will give another a different timbre to the mix of guitar sounds that I'm putting into the song. It gives me an opportunity to either put them together and then change the sound to give it different depths, or to pan one side over right or left. But pretty much going to put the same thing in there. The only problem, of course, with this whole plot is that I have rather large hands, and boy, when I'm up here on a teeny guitar, it can get really hard to smash my fingers in here, but it's all part of the fun. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to decide what in this pile of malarkey on the floor I'm going to run the guitar through. Now, it's important for those people who play acoustic instruments to understand that this thing is not an instrument in its entirety. All by itself, all it does is that. It is designed to go through something. That cord that you plug into it goes through something. Now, you might be one of those people, stick it into, say, an amplifier, like one of these. In my case, I'm going to go through these boxes, which do similar things to what the amplifier does. A guitar by itself really doesn't sound that good. The electric guitar is this miracle of happy accidents, where you've got something that really would sound pretty terrible, except for it was invented in a time where we had really crappy tube amplifiers that reproduced that sound terribly. So if you do a bad job of reproducing a terrible sound, the happy accident is that you come up with a pretty cool sound. Now, there's a lot of junk down here, and in truth, for this part, the only one I'm going to use is this, and that's going to add a little bit of harmonic content to the sound, and a way very similar to what that cello bowl does to this cello. Because all by itself, this cello goes plunk, 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 not very satisfying. You put the bow on it, you have sustain and this depth of harmonic content. And that's what this is doing. Except for in this case, I'm going to do it quite subtly. So, all right. Time to actually start wiggling the fingers and play something. All right, so making some progress here, and we've got now the two guitar parts. That's the nylon string guitar part that I did before. Here's the electric teeny guitar capoed way up. They have two different sounds to them. The nylon string guitar going like this. And the electric guitar sounding like this. And then you put them together, and because they're the same part, they're going to kind of sit on top of each other. That is, until we hit the next part, where the electric guitar gets more strummy. So as we go into this next bit, we'll hear this bit happen. So we went from 5/8 time to 3/4 time, and the nylon string guitar in this part is finger picking, where the electric guitar gets strummed. And there we go. So now, however, because I've started playing guitar, I want to put some other guitar on it. So now I want to use this guitar. Now, if you look at it, this is actually a regular size guitar. Right now there's a fad in electric guitars where you buy guitars that are relic-ed. So it's a brand new guitar, but then somebody takes like sandpaper to it and dents it all up, and then it looks like a really old guitar. And then they charge you incredible amounts of money for these things. Now, I got a different strategy. Go buy a brand new guitar and then play it for 30 years and put all sorts of dings and dents in it. So you notice like the pickup cover here, this is all wonky. But even worse, there's this bit. See, this is all, this is like gray epoxy and crap. So if you really want a relic guitar, quote unquote, get in a car crash and have your guitar smashed in a crash and then stick it back together with epoxy. And then you have a relic guitar that's old, therefore vintage, and yet I only paid like $275 for this because I had the smarts to buy it 35 years ago, and therefore I didn't have to pay $10,000 for somebody else to ding my guitar for me, which is just freaking ridiculous. The really unique thing about this guitar, if we can hear this, is it's tuned what I call half Nashville. Strings that are normal tuning are the two lowest ones and the two highest ones, but the two middle ones are tuned an octave higher than normal. Now, Nashville tuning is where all the upper four strings are tuned octave higher than normal. This is, so I call this half Nash. And that's good for some really cool things. For instance, hello. All right, so the cool thing about this guitar with the two strings higher, and now I'm plugged into something so you'll be able to hear this better, is that your G chord now becomes this. And it's kind of a 12-string idea, because in a 12-string you have paired strings with the octave higher, so you get that effect because we do have these two strings which are an octave higher. But what I like about this better than the standard Nashville tuning is I still get my low strings. My low strings still have that oomph to it, and yet I get that really cool chimey stuff. And where I really find that I'm using this a lot is playing big bar chords. They're still big and powerful, but then there's this high chimey thing to brighten up the guitar sound. So if I have a lot of like dense guitar and the sound's getting muddy by using this thing, I get that chimey upper thing. So now for this part that I've already got two parts, why not throw a third part in? And I'm going to do a strummy thing. like that. So now that I'm playing guitar, instrument that I at least vaguely know how to play, things are zipping along, so I'm adding parts. And the idea now is just when you get an idea, throw it in there and see how it goes. So I have my nylon string guitar part, that little teeny electric. My chimey, weirdly tuned guitar is going in there. And I'm just throwing in parts where I've got ideas. And then I've got different ideas over here. You can see this changes here. And we'll... Now we're into the part where I'm playing 7/8 time. And I've got these three voices. That was only two of them. Here's all three of them. Now, a real strange thing that happened is as I was playing along, I decided that the song was too short. Now, it's 8 minutes long, so you might go, 8 minutes? Rock and roll songs are supposed to be 3 minutes long. Well, I'm not putting this up on the radio, and therefore I don't have to meet the needs of the advertisers on that radio station. And the truth of the matter is human beings are used to listening to much longer forms of entertainment. If you look at classical pieces, or people sit down and read a book for hours at times, or watch movies that are hours long. There's no reason that this post-radio time that we're living in, that people should go like stifle their music creativity to just 3 minutes. And the truth is, you got to let the composition breathe and do its thing. And as I originally outlined it, I went like, okay, there it is at 8 minutes. And I went like, it hasn't done its thing. Its narrative arc has been truncated. And so I went like, I'm going to revisit a piece that I'm going to play different in a different time signature from early part, move that in. And now it seems like the whole thing's breathing correctly, like it's got its full narrative in place. So that's some guitar parts. I'm going to add some more, although I'm going to get out some of what I call the crimes against nature guitar pedals, things that make the guitar sound really weird and different. And I'm going to start adding those in to, because right now we got a lot of guitar, and that's awesome, but we need timbrely, we need some contrast in there. So something different's got to go in here, and that's what's going to happen next. See ya!